Please, God. Please.
All right, guys, it's another episode of America's Hometown Horror that is yet again brought to you by Shine Through Window Cleaning. Yet again.
You say that every time.
Hey, in case you don't know, Shine Through Window Cleaning is a family-owned and operated company that proudly serves America's hometown and the surrounding area. They treat your home or business like they would treat their own, and they truly believe in building their reputation on every single job they do. Get in touch today to discuss your window cleaning, gutter cleaning, and power washing needs at 781-812-9189. That's 781-812-9189, or at shinethroughwindowcleaning.com. That's shine, T-H-R-U, windowcleaning.com. Shine Through Window Cleaning.
I gotta say, I thought of a song while you said that.
Okay.
I hope you don't know that I had an ad read.
Wow.
Shine Through is the best fucking company.
That's a nice rhyme. That actually works out really well.
Very nice, Andrew. Very nice.
Guys,
Very nice.
we are in January now. It's the new year, and some might say we're about to enter 30 days of night, the longest, most horrible month of the year. And when you get out of that month, you're going to want your windows cleaned. So call Shine Through today to discuss your 2020.
I mean, how are you going to get blood off your windows?
True, exactly. Yeah, well, you should go up to Barrow, Alaska, and do some Shine Through window cleaning indeed. What's going on, folks? What is up? My name is Mike, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. We are happy to have you, and Happy New Year! It's our first episode of 2021. As always, I am joined by my esteemed co-host. Not always esteemed, but tonight they are.
Self-esteemed.
Andrew, what's up, buddy?
I'm pretty sure I already burped.
And Kat.
Play
what's
that
up,
or not?
Hello.
Great.
Great.
We're moving on.
Great.
I don't like your attitude, for starters. I thought those were great introductions.
Well, anyway, Happy New Year, folks, and thanks for coming back in to check in with us here in 2021. Hope everyone had a safe, happy, and healthy New Year. But how was everybody's New Year, folks? Everyone have a Happy New Year. Kat, I know we had a nice time. It was a good time. Got to hang out with a few people, had some drinks. Nothing too crazy. Couldn't really go out too much like we had New Year's past, so that kind of sucked ass.
Yeah.
But, Andrew, what about you?
I worked New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Made some good money.
That's good.
Didn't do anything because it's just another fucking day in this hellhole that we live in. So what difference does it make?
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah, it was a very
It's the worst year.
Boozy, festive Christmas season this year.
Yeah, for sure. Which I think is, one of the reasons that Kat and I are going to attempt to do sober January, or at least a couple of sober weeks in January. We're on our, day 2 of this right now.
Yep.
So we'll see how it goes throughout the month. It's definitely tough to, but you need a little reset after the holidays sometime.
Yeah.
Kind of jumpstart the new year, happy, healthy, and
I don't know if
move right the
anybody's
fuck
ever
along,
seen
right?
that episode of Always Sunny where Mac and Dennis move in together at the apartment. Where they're like renting a house in the suburbs.
And it's the mac and cheese, right?
I love that episode.
It's
Isn't it like
Mac's famous mac
yes,
and cheese.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
This is what I feel like is going to happen with you two. With not drinking. It's
Dennis, Matt keeps hearing the beeping of the
hear the beep.
alarm.
Oh, yes, I've heard the fucking
I've heard it the entire time. Well, why didn't you say anything? Because I hate you. I love that episode.
We've
so
already
good.
had that with our doorbell.
Yeah.
This is going to be that episode.
When
Yes.
when Dennis he gets into the altercation with the neighbor and he strips off all of his clothes and screams in his face. So funny. I love that episode.
What an episode.
So great. Yeah, so we'll see how sober January goes. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. But yeah, so why don't we get into some news real quick before we jump into our movie tonight, huh?
Oh, there's news.
I have one item real quick, I promise you.
All right.
So I saw today in the news on one of my favorite horror websites. Kat, remember they did the Are You Afraid of the Dark reboot?
Yes.
I don't know if it was
I
last.
liked
It was
it.
2 Octobers ago. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good. Are You Afraid of the Dark is one of my favorite shows when I was a kid, kind of got me into horror, and they did a pretty cool little, I think it was like 4 or 5 episode miniseries a couple Halloweens ago. Did you see any of that, Andrew?
No.
Were you a fan of Are You Afraid of the Dark growing up?
Good show.
Yes, definitely. But so apparently they're going to continue doing this rebooted Are You Afraid of the Dark, and they're actually not going to wait till October to come out with it. It said coming soon. There's a little trailer for it, but it has a subtitle. So what they did in the first season of the reboot, they had one continuous story throughout all the episodes as opposed to it being an anthology, which I didn't really like as much, probably because of my nostalgia for the original show. But so they're going to continue that theme in season 2, and they're calling it Are You Afraid of the Dark, Curse of the Shadows.
Ooh.
But the trailer, it's like 15 seconds, real quick. It's not even a trailer, a clip, and it has a pretty scary-looking monster in there. So looks like it's going to be pretty good. So that might be coming sooner rather than later, and I will definitely check that out. As I know you probably will too.
Yeah.
So, because I know one of the best purchases I ever made was I think it was like 3 or 4 Black Fridays ago. Some random streaming service, Vudu, VUDU, had like the entire Are You Afraid of the Dark series on sale for like $9, and I got it. So, yep, sure did have that available. So that's what I got for news. Like I said, short and sweet. There was not a whole lot dropping right now. And if you just heard that sound, that would be our dog, the official hound dog of America's Hometown Horror, that just went into the little closet we have down here in our basement/recording studio, and he knocked over a bunch of shit. So that's a fun little sound effect, and now I have to block that off. So he's just sniffing around and being a typical pain in the ass. But I digress. So let's get on with our topic du jour, which, of course, if you've seen the episode title, you know that movie is called 30 Days of Night, which came out in 2007. And this is another one of those movies that might have flown under your radar that you should definitely check out. So, as we always do, we'll start off with overall thoughts on the movie before we dive into some facts, some spoilers, some categories, some others, as Andrew has come up with a new topic.
The
others.
Nicole Kidman comes out as the
others.
Not the Nicole Kidman movie, a separate category. Kat, I will start with you on 30 Days of Night. Your thoughts?
Well, it's a winner because Josh Hartnett's in it, and he's one of my like teenage heartthrobs.
Yeah. I feel like I could see the hearts in your eyes when we said we were going to do this movie this week.
And also, Josh Hartnett's in this?
By the way,
sold.
By the way, shout out to James, our buddy James, who listens to the show and suggested this movie for January. Good winter horror movie. So thank you, James. Yeah, thank you, James.
I know it's nice and like snowy now. It's actually snowing outside right now, I think.
Yeah, as we record. Not accumulating though, which is phenomenal.
No, yes, which is good. But yeah, so I absolutely love it. I think it's good. I think I was happy watching it. I'd recommend it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Andrew, what about you? 30 Days of Night.
What do I think about 30 Days of Night? So this was my number 1 vampire movie of all time.
Really?
That I've ever watched.
Ever.
Until Let the Right One In came out, and then that took it over. But this movie, up until that point, was my favorite vampire movie that I ever watched. Because it was just...
I liked the vampire.
It wasn't the same old boring vampire story.
Exactly.
It was different. It was a unique concept. It was in this town at the northernmost point of America.
Yep.
It has 30 Days a Night. What a great place for vampires to invade.
Yeah.
It had the best vampires I've ever seen in a movie because they were barely human.
Yep.
They were more monster than human. And what else did I love about this movie?
You didn't like Josh Hartnett?
He was great.
Yeah.
He cut his unibrow before, which was nice.
Oh my god.
So that's a
He didn't have
plus.
a unibrow?
Josh Hartnett has a massive unibrow.
No, he does not.
You're insane. He's Anthony Davis of actors.
Stop it.
He is.
Anthony Davis of actors. Josh Hartnett. I bet those are
And
words that have never
digress.
been uttered on a podcast.
So this movie, it had 2 movies that it reminded me of. It reminded me of Storm of the Century.
Yep.
Because it had that
definitely see the parallels
effect
there.
with the stranger.
Yep.
Played by Ben Foster, who was phenomenal. And he was just weird. He obviously wasn't the same character as in Storm of the Century.
Right.
It also had the Thing concept to me with the dog getting killed in the beginning. And isolation and winter, and like that kind of drew me into it.
That was one thing I had written down. It kind of is like the Thing with vampires. Somewhat.
He doesn't have a unibrow at all. I mean, I would say his eyebrows maybe moved further apart as he got older.
That's because he shaved in between them.
Well, no. I mean, like, okay, I got a bunch of pictures. So when he's younger, they look a little bit closer together. But when he's older, there's no unibrow.
Yeah, because they're not going to put pictures of him with the unibrow on the
So have you seen his unibrow in person then?
Let me fix the Google.
Fucking unibrow. Yeah, John Hart.
Fix the Google. Unibrow.
It comes up after 2 letters.
Unibrow.
Well, I guess underwear would be the other one I think would come up, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Josh Hart did.
There it is.
Oh my god.
Right fucking there. That's a unibrow. Show it to Michael. Don't.
Okay, alright, okay.
He does have a unibrow there.
Yeah, okay,
Yep,
okay,
he does.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
So, breaking news, Josh Hartnett does have a unibrow. It's been confirmed.
When he was very, very young.
Very, very young, yes. So,
He stopped shaving it.
I agree with everything that you guys just said. And Andrew, you kind of just talked about it, but 2 things stick out to me when I think about 30 Days of Night, and I was reminded of them the other night when we watched this movie. It's an all-time great premise for a vampire, or really any sort of horror movie, with it being set in Alaska in a town where it's 30 days of darkness. That's an awesome, awesome, awesome idea, and I feel like they execute it pretty well. But the best part is that it actually, like you said, Andrew, makes vampires scary. Make vampires scary again, folks, all right?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did anyone look up if that actually happens? I don't think that actually happens.
I have that, yes.
Is that later on?
I will get to that.
Do
yeah.
vampires get...
No, not
To-
that. No,
is there-
I mean, there's 30
is there a
days
place
of
where it's
night
30
in
days of night?
Alaska.
Most
Okay.
likely.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So the vampires being scary, to me, that's probably the biggest deal about the movie, because I know we've talked about this in the past. Andrew, you and I have similar feelings in this, but vampires, like zombies, are all sorts of fucking played out at this point. Because of it's a direct effect of movies like the Twilight series, which more on Twilight in a little bit, or TV shows like True Blood, which I never was
never
into.
watched True Blood.
I know your friend Jen's big
Yeah,
into
Jen
that
watches
show, and
True
they are
Blood is-
rebooting it on HBO, but I don't
They're
know.
rebooting a show that they just made?
Barely. That's 2020, 2021.
Is it-
I guess we'll see. So it's good to see that the filmmakers actually succeeded here at making truly frightening looking creatures. Like you said, Andrew, I don't even know if I'd hesitate. I mean, yes, they drink blood, but they look more like creatures than they do like vampires, which is
I
great.
barely ever do a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
And in 2008, or whenever this movie came out,
You did one of these vampires.
I wore a white button-up with blood soaked all over it, and that was it. That's all I needed to do.
Fun.
There you go.
Black pants. It was a great... Oh, I fucking love this
Yeah.
movie.
I feel like they looked for actors with like specific like facial structures
That
for
one
this.
guy,
yeah.
the one guy,
Oh.
like, he's got to be,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
number 2 in command.
Oh,
He's got the
he
most
got the
fucked
the
up
long,
face.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so weird. It's so weird. And honestly, like everything about them is cool. The long fingernails, the black eyes, obviously the fangs. The fact that they speak their own language, I think, is really cool. It's a nice little touch that you don't really see too much, I guess.
Marlowe's girlfriend is the best.
Which one? She? Oh yeah. Okay, she's the one that
the
gets
whore.
burned.
The
That's
whore that
burned
gets
by the
burned,
UV
yeah,
light. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's the one I was thinking of.
Oh yeah.
I also completely forgot how fucking gory this movie is.
Oh yeah.
Like, I knew it was rated R. I just feel like I haven't seen it in so long that I forgot exactly how bloody this movie is. There are some truly disgusting scenes. There's a ton of blood, as there should be in a vampire movie. And while I don't think this is any sort of all-time classic, I know you said it's your favorite vampire movie, I think it has a few issues that are minor. I still really like the movie a lot, but this movie is definitely extremely underrated, and if you haven't seen it yet, I mean, go watch it. We did have to pay for it. It's not available on any streaming service right now, but you can rent it everywhere. We rented it on Amazon Prime. So, yeah, for sure. Any other overall thoughts before we...
I mean, I think we just need to emphasize the point that it is the most unique of any vampire movie there is.
Yeah.
Can we agree
It's
on
up
that?
there.
Yeah.
I think Let the Right One In might have a little bit more of a unique premise,
I think
but
this
they're
one's
both
more
like...
unique.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think that this kind of parallels in a weird way is Storm of the Century.
Yeah, Andrew said
A
that
little
earlier.
bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I missed it.
No, Andrew said that.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it reminded
agree.
him
But even like the
With
villain,
the stranger.
like the guy, the stranger guy,
Ben
like,
Foster, yeah.
Yes, like all that, and
In
like the town and the burning
and the
the
two
people
cops,
yeah.
and they're
Yep.
yeah, it's a small
It's-
town.
yeah.
There's a
Dude,
storm.
I haven't seen
It's
Storm of the
vampires.
I haven't seen Storm of the Century in forever.
I have it.
love-
On DVD.
That movie, that short,
It was a series,
whatever it is,
right?
is so
you always
good.
get mad at me when I say don't.
It's
Not a
technically
movie,
series.
it's a series. Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
It's like a 9-hour movie.
Yeah.
yeah, yes.
So, this movie came out in 2007,
That's
as
like
I
It
mentioned
Won.
before.
It Won is a movie.
Oh, God, I'm not even gonna get that. We've done one other horror movie that came out in 2007. Anyone want to take a guess as to what it is?
Saw.
No.
Is that 04? 06?
Oh, so when?
04. for Saw.
04?
Yeah.
07. 07. 07.
No, we're saying 07 came out.
It came out, this 30 Days of Night came out in 2007. We've covered one other 2007 horror movie.
Ooh.
Anyone know what it is?
Scream?
Not
No,
Scream.
not
It came out in the
close.
90s.
Oh. I wish I had a list
half
of
the
the ones
movies.
we've covered in front of me,
I
because then I'd
could
be like,
figure it
that
out if you
one.
did
It was
yeah.
recent.
It's
Was
gotta be like.
recent?
It's gotta be like. It's not. It's 2007. It's not Creep because I was 14.
We covered it in October. It's a Halloween movie.
Trick or Treat?
Oh,
Trick or Treat.
Yay! I got
I
it,
was
I
just gonna
got
say
it.
There you go. Trick or Treat.
I was gonna
So
go
we
Krampus.
How many clues? How many
we
clues
already
do you
we
have to
already
give?
have talked about some 2007 highlights in the horror genre back on that episode. But
This
just
better or worse?
That's
Ooh.
a tough question. Ooh.
Well, they're two totally different movies.
I don't care. Are they? Is it better or worse?
I lean 30 Days a Night.
I think I
do
will
too.
too, just for Josh Hartnett.
But here's some of the other ones. So 28 Weeks Later, the sequel to 28 Days Later.
That movie smelled.
1408, which is a Stephen King movie
yeah.
with Samuel L. Jackson and John Cusack. The Rob Zombie Halloween. Hostel 2, which, not great. The Mist, phenomenal movie. We'll cover that this year for sure. The first Paranormal Activity, which is also phenomenal. The Poughkeepsie Tapes, Saw 4, and obviously Trick or Treat. So, some good movies that year, for sure.
Nice.
Some good movies. I think my personal favorite might be The Mist out of all those.
Love that movie.
Yeah, The Mist is phenomenal. So here's some quick facts about 30 Days of Night before we get into all of our usual other stuff, right? So, in reality, Kat, you brought this up already. Barrow, Alaska. It was known as Barrow, Alaska when this was written and the movie came out. They've actually changed the name back to its I guess, initial Inuit name, I believe, is what the...
Okay.
So it's now called Utqiagvik. Utqiagvik.
Utqiagvik.
Utgiagvik. That's what the town is now called. They don't see the sun for roughly 67 days.
Okay,
not
because
30.
that makes more sense, because I was going to say, like, time lapse and cycles and lunar phases or whatever, like, you have one less hour
Correct.
of sun, and that means that in the summer they'll have weeks of sun, like, based
Right.
on the Earth's spin
Right.
and axis or whatever. I was like, it won't be just 30 days, and, like, it seemed like they had a whole day before it just was night, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's a little far-fetched.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine living in a place like that, though? It would be so insane.
Some people do.
I know.
I
know
have
there are.
relatives in Alaska. They
Yeah.
live in the light and the dark.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
Gotta be
it's much
just
different.
A different lifestyle out there.
Totally.
For sure. But so the story for 30 Days of Night was originally written into as a comic book back in 2002 by a guy named Steve Niles. So Steve Niles is pretty well known in the horror comic book world. He's written adaptations of several classic horror stories, like comic adaptations, like I Am Legend, Spawn. He did a 28 Days Later comic book. And the most bizarre one I found, he teamed up with Adam Jones, who is the lead guitarist in the band Tool, and they both co-wrote a 30 Days of Night and X-Files crossover comic book miniseries.
Wow.
Sign me the fuck up for that. I gotta find that somewhere.
Yeah.
He also wrote The October Faction, which was turned into a show on Netflix.
I almost watched that.
It
I
looks
was-
good,
yeah.
and I kind of want to watch it now. I haven't seen any of it. But it was one of those things that I think I've had in my queue for a while, and I just never got around to it. But maybe I will check that back out now. So Steve Niles wrote the comic. It initially caught the interest of Sam Raimi, who obviously is well known for the Evil Dead series, the Spider-Man movies, and he said it was, quote, different than any horror movie he'd seen in years. So he was very excited to make this. And then in 2005, it was announced that David Slade had joined the project as the director, with Sam Raimi set to produce. So David Slade is another familiar name. He had directed a movie called Hard Candy in 2005, which is another great movie, thriller-type movie. He also, funny enough, went on to direct one of the Twilight movies. Gross. And he also did Black Mirror Bandersnatch. So he saved himself there a bit. So David Slade did Bandersnatch in addition to 30 Days of Night. Also directed some music videos. Been very famous for that. Some cool ones. He directed the Sour Girl video by Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, wow.
And Girls Not Grey by AFI.
Oh, cool. I like that song, too.
Also did a bunch of TV episodes of Hannibal, Breaking Bad, and American Gods.
Oh, so he's
been all over the place.
Well-rounded
Yep.
guy.
Yep. Any guesses on where this movie was shot?
The Arctic Circle.
It was not. I thought it was too.
Colorado?
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah, shot in New Zealand. Nearly half the cast of the movie is either Kiwi or Australian. And the entire town of
They're
Barrow-
named after fruits?
I was gonna say Kiwi?
That's a nickname for a person from New Zealand.
Oh.
It's not offensive.
Interesting.
or anything. It's like,
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, so the entire town of Barrow or Utqiagvik.
Wait, so
I
is
gotta
that
memorize
it's not
that.
a real town?
Yes, it is a real town. It used to be called Barrow, now it's called Utqiagvik.
So-
They changed the name. Yes.
Did someone go there to research for this movie, what goes on in that town, or was it just
I'm sure somebody probably did. I wasn't able to find anything saying that someone did.
Did you find anything on these two things? Population, is it 152?
I did not. Oh, actually, I guess you could find it. Probably
I mean, I was
on the
curious.
page.
I was also curious if on the because on the sheriff cars it says North Slope Borough, which is that section of Barrow, Alaska. I'm curious if that's real.
Population of Utqiagvik in Alaska is as of 2017, according to Wikipedia, is 4,383.
Oh, so that's huge.
Yeah, so it's
But-
bigger. It's
but-
bigger than what they portray in the movie.
Well, that long ago it might have been smaller.
could have
I
been.
mean, maybe.
Certainly could have been. Certainly could have been.
Maybe it boomed after this movie.
It's boomed. We're gonna boom. So yeah. So basically, the entire town that was used in the movie was built in New Zealand on a soundstage because it was easier to control fake snow there. So all of this was shot in sound stages.
So that's all
Yep.
fake. Oh my god, that's pretty realistic.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask you that, Michael. Is this mostly practical effects or CGI?
I think it's mostly practical stuff.
Is it?
Maybe the.
Do you know that?
I wasn't able to find anything on it, but I mean, it's mostly makeup
Because
on
like
actors.
when he's axing their heads off,
those are gonna be practical effects. Yeah, like dummies.
Those are
that sort of
those
thing.
are great practical.
Very good.
Oh my
effects.
God, yeah.
Very, very good. So I mentioned before that I thought it was pretty cool the vampires had their own language. So they actually, thought they did a lot of research on that before they filmed the movie because there was concern that the vampires needed to communicate, but if they talked in English, it might lessen the scares a little bit, makes them seem a little bit more alien to have their own language. So basically, they created their own fictional vampire language with click consonants that was constructed with the help of a professor from the University of Auckland in New Zealand.
Wow.
So I actually consulted with somebody at university. I can speak English good, and made this language up. So basically, David Slade said, "We designed this really simple language that didn't sound like any particular accent that you would be aware of that was based around really simple actions. Eating, hunting, yes, no, really basic because that's what vampires do.
Yeah.
Hunt
That makes
and
sense.
give off basic communication." And that's what I got for facts on
Cool.
30 Days of Night.
So, I mean, there is that general Dracula theme to this movie, though. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
The stranger,
Yeah.
Ben Foster.
Yep.
He's obviously Renfield. He's longing to be brought in by the
Yep,
Draculas.
exactly.
I do have a question about the beginning, though.
Okay.
If I may ask.
Sure.
So that guy, the stranger, came off of that big boat.
Ghost boat. That's 10
Like,
times.
that was never-
that's
never
a
talked
ghost.
about.
That's a ghost ship. That's where they're traveling on. That's where all the vampires are on. They're
Yeah.
riding on that ghost boat or whatever the fuck it is.
So where did he come from?
He probably got let off the
he's-
boat.
He's the guy that he's like the.
He's like the familia.
They send him into an area to scope it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do we got?
He's like
He's
their
the familiar.
Guillermo.
Okay.
He's like their Guillermo.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but
Okay,
I actually,
alright.
so I had that as kind of one of the things I wish I had seen more of was what was on that ship. It was definitely creepier that they just kind of showed him
could
coming
you
off
imagine
of it.
what
but
was
I-
on that ship?
Yeah, it must have been some
The
awesome
bodies
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be
stuff.
there.
I would have liked to have seen that. I would have liked to have seen
That would have been. They really set a good tone in this movie.
Yeah.
Agreed. So, first category. Andrew, do you find this movie to be scary?
As far as vampire movies go, yes. They do a great job with the villains. I love the head vampire, Marlowe.
Yeah, awesome character.
He's really good.
Danny Houston kills it.
Yeah.
You ever seen Edge of Darkness? He's great in that
No.
movie.
That's a Liam Neeson movie, right? Or
Liam
is it-
Neeson's the main character,
Yes,
I think.
yes.
And Danny Houston's like the villain.
Yes, okay. Yeah. I know that movie.
He plays a great villain.
He was also, do you remember in the Coven season of American Horror Story, the Axeman? The
Oh.
serial killer that played the saxophone, he carried an axe around
Yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
saxophone
Yep,
case. That was the guy that was the head vampire.
He plays a great
Oh.
villain.
Yeah, he's good.
He is a villain.
Yeah.
Like, and his whole role, like that whole language that they speak, that's what makes this movie so dark.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
whole time, like A lot of the shit he says is just like, oh, it's so good.
I love when they have all the vampires have that when they're all like barred up in the attic, and they have that one girl walking down the street as bait. And they realize that none of them are going to come out to save this girl, or like Josh Hartnett is trying to, but he didn't get there in time. And she's like praying to God, and he just looks at her. And he
goes, "Please, God."
Yeah, and he says, "God." Like the only words he says in English the entire time. And he like looks up. He looks up at the sky and like listens, and he's just like, "No, God." And then they proceed to like rip her face apart. That was awesome.
So good.
But then, how do you think that they communicated to her to tell her to walk down the street?
Through shrieks. No,
I
communicate
didn't
to
get
her.
that. So maybe they can't speak
told her
enough
you're
English.
going to be ripped apart.
Right.
He knows how to
They
speak.
must-
Maybe
No,
they
some
were
English.
speaking English off screen. To
Well,
some
he
of these
speaks-
people.
Yeah.
Because they can clearly speak a little bit of English.
Well,
a little bit.
the familiar speaks English, so.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Oh, the best. That's what my favorite part is, though.
Familia.
Is when they're in the jail cell with Ben Foster's character, the stranger, and he goes, "We will take care of you."
Oh, yeah.
In English, he says that to him, so he understands him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he looks at the demon bitch, and he goes, "The things they believe," and then he breaks his
breaks
neck.
his head off. Yeah,
He
pretty
goes,
much.
like the things they believe, like he told
actually
them, "I will
thinks.
take care of you," and he's like,
Yeah.
"They believe me," and he goes, "The things they believe," and then he breaks his fucking
Yeah.
neck.
Yeah, that's a
that
good part.
part is so good.
That was a good part. Kat, do you find this movie to be scary at all?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not, like, terrified of it, because it's, like, a fictional... It seemed to me like a fictional thing, but, I mean, the whole idea that it's based off of, like, a real town in Alaska, and that it could... I mean, it could happen if there were vampires.
Do you think
but,
the
like,
average person would find this to be a scary movie?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a scary movie. It's in the horror genre.
Of course it is. Yeah, 100%. There's no other genre that it's in aside from horror.
Yeah, no. I mean,
yeah,
Nat Geo, like, winter,
The
maybe?
the vampires are the scariest part. Scary vampire design is good stuff. Doesn't personally frighten me, but I can see how other people would find this to be a frightening movie. Catherine, your favorite scene in the movie?
I like it so we're into, like, we're into talking about the movie. This is all spoils, right?
Correct.
I like it when, you know, Josh Hartnett finally, like, makes the decision to shoot himself up with the blood
Yeah.
and, like,
Turn himself into
turn
half
himself
like,
in.
half
and
a vampire.
He goes in, like, in that scene, and he just goes in, like, kicks ass.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the only way. Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah, the way he kills Danny Houston at the end, he just puts his fucking fist through,
Oh, it
through
was
his face.
awesome. You kind of were like, whoa. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, you didn't expect that.
No,
No.
not at all.
When I saw that, I went, "That doesn't make any sense."
No.
What am I seeing?
yeah.
Andrew, what about you? I know you said that you liked when the stranger, Renfield, got killed. Do you have any other favorite parts of the movie that you liked?
I like when the MVP of the movie, Bo,
I had him too.
he agrees that it's his time to create a
Oh, yeah.
diversion, and he's just chopping off heads, and then he
He's
drives into that
yeah.
building to blow it up.
Yeah.
And right before he blows it up, the guy goes, he's like a sage. He goes, "When a man meets a force he can't destroy, he destroys himself.
Yeah, that's a good
What
quote.
a plague you are."
Yeah.
Good line.
And then he kills him.
Yeah.
What a fucking boss.
Yeah.
That's a
That
boss
was an
way to
awesome
kill
line.
somebody.
Yeah, Danny Houston has some great lines in this movie, and Bo was a good character. I like him. I like what's his name? He's been in a bunch of stuff.
He was in one of the
Oh, he's in Sons.
Dark Knight, or
He's in the Dark Knight. Oh, he's in Batman Begins, and he's Bobby in Sons of Anarchy. I forget his actual name though. It'll come to me. But yeah, that was definitely a great scene. I already mentioned the bait scene where that we talked about that a little bit, but that's a great scene. I also really liked kind of like the lead up to the vampire invasion when you didn't really know exactly what was going on yet. It starts out with the ghost ship and the stranger coming in. And then Josh Hartnett and his partner find that pile of burned satellite phones, and then all those beautiful dogs get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Parallels to the Thing, like we mentioned. But
So
oh
sad.
god, and they showed some disgusting
Ugh.
follow-ups of
Yeah.
those murders. That was awful. And then obviously people start to get picked off, and you start to see exactly more and more of what's happening. I thought that was
Grand
good.
Theft Auto scene.
Yeah,
You
that was
know
awesome.
the Grand Theft Auto scene.
Yeah,
where it's like
it's
from
like
above.
vampires, like,
it's
yeah.
just them pillaging.
That's
I tried to
what
keep
I had
track.
too. I had
I
that
tried
for
to keep
another
track
one.
at some point, and I got to like 25 deaths, visual deaths.
wow, yeah.
And then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
lost track.
They're essentially just
So
murdering
I'm
the
telling you
entire
right
town.
now, there hasn't been a movie with more actual visual deaths than this movie in a long time. Because it was over 25, and then I lost track. I couldn't even fucking keep up.
Yeah, there was a lot. That overhead shot, that was a lot of death and blood and fire and gore and car crashes and all that shit. So, Andrew, do you have any beefs with anyone that was in the cast?
Not at all.
Okay,
I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't think so either, to be honest.
Okay, so I'm gonna go off the board here, and I'm gonna say that for the most part, the acting, or I should say, more importantly, specifically the acting of Josh Hartnett and Amelia George, I believe is her name, the one that plays his ex-wife, or
I thought it was
separated
like Melissa.
from Melissa George, not Amelia George. Very easy to notice Josh Hartnett's kind of shortcomings a little bit here in this movie. It pains me to say that, because I am a Josh Hartnett defender. I actually really liked him in Penny Dreadful when he played that character in that show. He was very good there. But I noticed especially in the scenes where he's trying to show emotion and shock, like when he finds his partner after he murdered his family, and I don't know. He just I don't think it was his
You didn't
best
like him?
performance. Oh. I like him. I like him as an actor. I just thought that maybe that was how his character was written. It was supposed to be, very straight-laced, like showing no emotion. But I don't know. I just thought that he kind of left a little bit to be desired. I feel like that's kind of
how he is as an actor, though.
Not always, but I don't know. That was just me. You guys thought everybody was fine? That's fine.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
You guys haven't watched Fortitude, so fuck off.
Okay,
fair enough.
Just saying.
For nitpicks or anything that bothered you about the movie, I just thought... I already kind of talked about this, but I wish the relationship between the stranger, Renfield, whatever you want to call him, Ben Foster's character, and the vampires, you saw a little bit more of that. I know you're supposed to assume that he's there familiar. I wish they kind of showed a little bit more of that relationship. One moment they were saying they were going to kill him, then they don't kill him, then they come back and kill him, so it seems like they changed their mind a number of times.
Because this was a dark comic book reenactment, essentially.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure that had something to do with it. Something to do with it.
To the point.
Yeah. Obviously, we talked about his parallels to Renfield and Dracula. All the Dracula stories, pretty much. Also, raw hamburger, bro. I'm gonna eat raw hamburger.
Line.
Yeah.
Get a shot of whiskey.
Mm-hmm. Don't have whiskey. Can't drink. You won't give me what I want to drink. You won't give me what I want to eat. Yeah, he's a lunatic. Ben Foster's really good at playing lunatics in all the movies that he's in. You saw it with me. What's the movie with him and Chris Pine where they're bank robbers? Came in a couple of years. Jeff Bridges
the Western movie?
Yeah, it was awesome. He's great in that.
Hell or
High Water. Hell or High Water. That's what
that movie slaps.
Yeah, that movie's great. Very great movie.
That's a country western slap shit.
Slaps.
That's like a Fargo. Like that's just
kind of reminded me a little bit of like No Country for Old Men.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie too. So, Andrew, who died the best in this movie?
Best death in this movie. I gotta say, that's so tough.
I can go.
There's a lot of good deaths. I would say the little boy or girl that his brother murders with the axe.
Oh yeah, that's
a good
death. Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a good death.
Okay. I like. Is Billy the one that they find and then he goes into the chopper?
No. Bill. Okay, so Billy's his partner. He throws the vampire into the chopper, which I had down for mine. That was gross. But then he gets bitten, so he starts to turn, and then Josh Hartnett whacks his head off in front of the garbage crusher.
Yeah, like crushes it with an axe.
That was nasty.
Well, because the other person that he killed was at least behind a door, and you just heard the thud.
Yeah.
But this one you actually saw.
You saw it, yeah.
This movie was The Thing without aliens.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's the Thing with vampires.
Yeah.
It's a very good way of describing it.
It's so good.
It's not as good as The Thing, obviously, but it's there's some parallels.
Up there.
I love The Thing. I don't know if I'm putting 30 Days of Night on that level. But, yeah, I mentioned the vampire and the garbage crushing machine. I don't know what the technical term is for it. That was a nasty-ass fucking death. When Josh Hartnett goes to speak with the people that work there because they find, like, the helicopter shit in there, and they show the garbage crusher, like, that's going to come back into play at some point. So I knew that. I hadn't seen this movie in so long, so I forgot some of the stuff that happened. Bo Brower getting his head stomped, which we talked about that scene.
Oh, yeah.
You're a plague. That was fucked up.
That was pretty messed
That
up,
was
too,
nasty.
yeah.
They kind of cut away at the end, but you saw the head kind of cave in a little bit.
the
That was
smush.
nasty. Yeah. I mean, there's just so many. The entire town gets killed, so, pick your poison, I suppose. There's a bunch of good deaths here. So, huge untapped potential here that this movie has not been turned into any sort of haunted house. I just think that, the setting, obviously, with the cold, Alaska, the dark, with the vampires, could be a really good haunted house.
Did they have a haunted house with the thing?
They have. Yeah.
Because that would essentially be like kind of the same.
Kind of a similar idea, yeah. But obviously different types of monsters and stuff. So I think, hey, Universal or somebody else that has money to do it, get on this, make it happen.
Yeah,
make it happen. All right, we are moving right the fuck along. Andrew, who's your MVP of this movie?
Who is my MVP of?
Oh, you already said it, Bo.
Bo is Bo's boss. He is a
badass.
Nobody likes him at the beginning. Guys give him citations. But when it matters most, he plows over those guys' heads, kills all those, and then he blows up that building with himself in it to try and kill as many as he can. He is all about saving everybody else.
That machine he was driving when he was taking them all out with essentially like the giant chainsaw, that's fucking badass.
Amazing.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know what it is. I mean,
I don't think that's
know if it's a real thing.
No, that's a real machine.
It seemed like a giant auger or something like that had blades on it. I have no idea.
Well, was that the same machine that ran into her car in the
No,
beginning?
that was a different one. That was a different one.
But it looked the same.
I think it was different. They probably had multiple machines like that throughout the town. Given
I thought
where
that
they
girl
were
was going
and
to die in the first scene there.
Oh, she should have. There's no way she should have survived that. She walked away without a scratch, but because movie, she survived.
It's like you just hit her with like a construction vehicle. She should be totaled.
Yeah.
And
also, when Bo gets out of that thing and he lights all the dynamite and he just goes flying out of the building and he doesn't explode on spot.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's
because movie again. But yeah, also the what's so Josh Hartnett's character in this movie is named Eben. Not Evan, which was a little annoying.
Yeah. I thought it was Evan the whole time.
Yeah, it's EBEN, and then
even with the subtitles.
Shit, what is his wife's name? It's gonna piss me off now.
Melissa, right?
No, that's the actress's name. Hold on.
Sue.
Nope, not Sue.
It's definitely not Sue.
This is riveting podcasting. Stella Olsen. Yeah, she should have died in that. Was
she in the Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg?
I don't know. She might have been. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
That's before that.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, so yeah. So you were saying that Bo is your MVP. I think that's a nice choice. He's definitely like the kind of like the resident recluse badass that just kind of has the heart of gold that comes in to save the day, or not really save the day, but at least gets them out of a pickle in a tight spot. Catherine, I have a feeling who your MVP might be.
It's Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, let's just say it.
Yep, it's Josh Hartnett.
Okay. Any particular reason why, other than the hotness?
Well, there's the hotness.
He is a handsome man. Very handsome.
Yeah, I mean, he was a good character. I liked his evolution. You saw he had a lot of emotions. He was. Even though you say he didn't really have, I think no, he went through a lot. Even killing people. I feel like I could see it on his face, that he just kind of got beaten down by the end of the movie.
Yeah. They also, and I mean, nobody was really watching the movie for this. You want to see vampires kill people and people kill vampires, but they also didn't really explain. Aside from the fact that maybe they disagreed about having a family, about why Eben and Stella were,
they never got
why
into
they
that.
split up, or what the deal was
why
with
even
that.
get into it?
Yeah,
if
why
you're
even?
not gonna...
Yeah, they didn't have to have the angle where it was his ex-wife or his wife and they were separated. It could have just been his love interest in the town.
I think that added another dimension, though.
Yeah, I guess what did it add though? Really, they didn't really do much with it.
No, but they didn't need to. You don't have
yeah.
to for that. If you're getting a third dimension. You don't have to do anything.
It's just one more heavy thing on his heart.
People don't know what the fuck they're talking about half the time.
You want to feel like Josh
The
Hartnett.
the only time where you feel like their relationship is like a point of interest is the very last scene when they're sitting there watching that first sun up and he knows he's going to die. That I just think obviously that was a good scene, a good way to end the movie. But I don't think they really I don't think they really did enough with their relationship throughout the movie to kind of justify that type of emotional payoff at the end of the movie. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about this. It's 30 Days of Fucking Night, but that's just my opinion. I don't know. Whatever. So Josh Hartnett, your MVP. I had a feeling.
How about you?
Mine is going to be the head vampire Marlowe.
Nice.
He is the badass of the movie, other than Bo Browder. Awesome villain, very scary, menacing, awesome one-liners, which we kind of talked about a little bit. And he's just a great vampire, one of the all-time scary vampires. So I'm going with my boy Barlow.
Nice.
Barlow.
You want to know what the best line he said in that movie was?
What's that?
What a man.
Marlowe, not Barlow.
Marlowe.
I was gonna say, I'm like, isn't it
Marlowe.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, maybe I just misheard you.
By the way, I believe is a reference to Salem's Lot. Awesome character. That's my MVP. Andrew, do you have any others for 30 Days of Night? Since that's our new category. Anything else that you want to pick our brains on here? You don't have to. It's okay.
Wild card.
Wild card, bitches.
Might have something. I just need to look.
What is others? What is it as a category? What does it mean?
Other things that we might not have covered
Oh,
across the other categories and facts and all that stuff.
okay.
I thought it was interesting that nobody was allowed to drink for a full month
That's a
during
little
this
weird,
time
huh?
period. Like, motherfucker, it is dark. You're not going to let me drink?
Yeah, people gotta cope. I mean, how? So they have a whole month where they have no one coming in or out of the town,
and you can't
just
drink.
because it's dark.
Yeah, that kind of didn't make sense to me either, right?
And
so
I'm like,
why? Nobody.
you don't have
You tell me
night
people
flights?
can't fly planes in the dark or
Right.
drive
This
cars in
is
the
why
dark?
this movie reminded me of the
The
no, Storm of the
Storm of the
Century.
Century, yeah. Okay.
Because you got the stranger coming to town, all of a sudden power's out, no cell reception,
Right.
can't talk to anybody. This fucking loser. But the thing about the
fucking
two,
loser.
no, the thing about the two strangers though is that one stranger dies very quickly, and the other one turns out to be the devil.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Any others?
Can we talk about how bad I felt about the old guy who had like dementia?
Yeah,
Or, like,
that sucked.
oh my god! And like, you're just sitting there and you're like, this guy, like, you really can't even like control him. That was such like a real like sad thing.
Yeah.
To watch.
Yeah, definitely. That was tough. And obviously, you can't blame the guy that's his son for going out to chase after him.
Of course
you know,
not.
so you wouldn't begrudge anybody for that. Yeah,
No.
that was tough. That was definitely a sad scene, for sure. Andrew, anything else?
I mean, that's all I got.
Catherine, any final thoughts on 30 Days of Night?
Oh, I thought that we replaced final thoughts with others.
No, I'm just asking you before.
No,
asking you.
I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. Yeah,
Cool.
recommend.
Yeah, I'd recommend this movie as well. Kind of like I said at the beginning, it's got great vampires. It makes vampires scary again. Make vampires scary again, baby. And I would highly recommend checking it out if you have somehow not seen it. So I think that's going to do it for us on 30 Days of Night, you guys. And here's where you can find us on the following social media platforms. On YouTube and Facebook, just go ahead and search for America's Hometown Horror. You can find us there. Like, subscribe, mash that bell so you get notified when all of our new episodes come out on YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram at Hometown Horror Pod. You can tweet at us at Hometown Horror. You can email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find our show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, and wherever else you listen to your podcasts. My name is Mike. Thanks again for tuning in to our first episode of 2021 here on America's Hometown Horror, and I've been joined by my esteemed co-hosts, Catherine and Andrew. Thanks, guys, and say goodbye to your listeners.
Goodbye. Say
Bye.
goodbye.
Say bye, Otis. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.